Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I am Jeremy International. This is the advice stream. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. No more Facebook. Facebook has changed the rules. You have to have like 1,000 followers on Facebook to stream live. And no one ever watched it on Facebook. So how am I supposed to have 1,000 followers there? So Twitch and YouTube are it, as well, of course, as Jeremy International. I'll go ahead and just remind everyone, if you'd like to seek advice during this stream or any future streams of the advice stream, I said that right, head on over to JeremyInternational.com. There's a contact form you can use if you'd like to submit a question anonymously. I will read it live if it comes in during this show, on this show, and if it comes on in between shows on the very next show I do, which I'm going to try really hard to be every week, but we shall see. I hope everyone's doing all right. I see Jugsy's here. Hi, Jugsy. Jugsy, you might be it. Is anyone over on? Oh, someone's on YouTube. I don't know whomst though. But it might just be you and me for a little bit, Jugsy. You know, usually people come in as the show goes on, but I hope you're doing well over in the AM there. How are ya? I'm good. I'm so tired for many reasons. One is it is incredibly hot where I am at, like 90s during the day, and I have, for whatever reason, a very low heat tolerance. So being outside even for short periods of time in the sun in this heat just knocks me out. Another reason I'm tired, I don't know, Jugsy, if you have kids or if anyone that might be watching this in the future has kids or not, but one of the things that I didn't know about kids before I had one is that, you know, like they go through this thing and they're growing up and they're learning new skills and they're becoming more independent and they're becoming older, more sophisticated kids, and it kind of seems like it's starting to get easier. But then, you know, something disruptive happens in the kid's life and then they like revert, like they go back, they rewind to like an earlier version of a younger kid for a little while until they get things sorted out and then they're fine again. And so, you know, with the end of the school year and summer camp and stuff, our kid, who's 4, has big time reverted and can't sleep all night in her bed anymore and needs someone at least to go with her to the bathroom. And it's just, it's been not a lot of sleep because of the bedtime stuff. But I'm sure we'll get back on track soon enough. How are you, Jugsy? How are things in the upside down, I believe is what people refer to Australia as, the upside down, right? How are things down there? Have you seen Bluey recently? I bet that she's all over the place. Oldman won't be joining us today, although maybe he'll appear in the chat later. He's got some things, some prior engagements going on, which is fine. I'd really like to go back. In addition to Oldman, we're always going to have Oldman on as our most reoccurring guest, but I miss having my friends on, maybe hanging out, me and Oldman and other folks too. So hopefully we'll get back to that as I kind of get back into the swing of doing this show regularly. Jugsy says, I don't have kids, but that sounds hard to deal. All good down here. I'm back at work after 2 weeks break, so just catching up on chaos. Is your 2 weeks break, was that just like a 2 weeks vacation? Because that is a very, I think, a common thing outside of America that we don't do in America a lot, is just taking like a long vacation. You know, there's not a lot of guarantee that people in the United States like get leave, like you get an amount of leave. It's usually not like paid leave. It's usually not very much. My job, I have unlimited paid time off. I try to use that as much as possible because that's one of the reasons I took the job. I actually have a week off in August coming up, which I'm very excited about. Yeah, isn't it, Jugsy? It's nice to have like a staycation and just like catch up on home stuff. That's always fun. I should say, over the last many weeks, I've been organizing, rewiring my console setup in our basement, and I'm pretty much done. It looks real nice. If not next week, maybe the week after, I'll stream from down there again, and I'll give like a little tour of my setup because it is. I'm very proud of it. It's a pretty impressive setup. Jugsy says I was approaching 4 weeks accrued, which is the point they can force you to take it. Yeah, I had a job previous to the one I have now at a small startup, and they had mandatory vacation time. Like my boss would like start to like hassle me if I hadn't scheduled time off. I think it was a couple of days every month at least they wanted you to take. It was really nice. And then it was like very much expected that you wouldn't work on your birthday. I was in a meeting once and there was this guy, a colleague of mine that was in the meeting, and like his manager like chimed in and be like, wait a second, today's your birthday. You get out of here. You whatever you're doing isn't that important. Stop. Go have your birthday. I really respect that in a job. That's a big thing for me, is just kind of that expectation to take care of yourself. I feel like that in my current job too, although maybe not to the extent of the old one. It is important to say that previous job with the mandatory vacation time, I did get laid off because they were struggling financially. So maybe there's something to it. Jugsy says the main reason they force you is because they can't afford to pay it out if you quit. Yeah, that's one of the reasons they do unlimited PTO in a lot of companies, is because if you leave, they don't have to pay out any unused time off because you technically had an unlimited amount, and it's up to you that you didn't take it. But while I've born and raised and lived my entire life in the United States, my partner, who sometimes is in the chat, Fred Undead, is from Europe, and she has hopefully will continue to impart on me more of a European sense of a work-life balance, because the way that Americans do it, like the way we do a lot of things, could be better. Although we do barbecue and we do bourbon the best in the world, and those are two pretty good things if you ask me. That's an important part of a culture that I am proud to be a part of. Anyways, we have a couple questions I've garnered from the internet. Not a lot's come into the website in a while, which is understandable because I haven't been streaming regularly in a while. And you gotta spend money to make money, as it were. So I do have some questions that I'll go over as we get along in the evening. I always say this at the beginning. I always shoot to do 2 hours. Tonight's probably gonna be closer to 1. Or 1.5, but we'll see. If I'm really into the game like I was last week, I was so into playing Space Ace last week. If you're watching this particular stream in the future and you're looking for a good episode, I feel like if you can go back to last week when I played Space Ace, I was having a blast. That game was a hoot, and I had a very good time playing it. And I hope the folks at home had a good time watching me play it. And then maybe even people that'll watch it now, like as a rerun or whatever, as a past event on the internet, would have a good time watching, because that game was so much fun. Highly recommend finding a way to play Space Ace. It's part of the Dragon's Lair package on the Switch, which I'm sure you can get through the e-store, but I have a physical copy because that's how I do. The game that I'm going to play tonight is a 1995 Sega Genesis game. It's been in my collection for a little bit, a few months. Been wanting to play it, haven't had a chance to check it out yet. It's called The Ooze. And it's my understanding that this is a pretty unique game on the console. I'm got it running on my screen here. I've never played it before. I've never even loaded it up until just now. And it sure looks cool. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. We are, but we like to keep it chill here on the advice stream. No pressure, no big deal. But we'll see if more people join us. If not, that's cool though. All you really need is Jugsy. The Beatles said that. All you need is Jugsy from Australia. Okay, why don't we Why don't we get into it? Let's try out the ooze and see how it goes. Is my controller still on? Is it still on? We'll get some volume here. I'm into this already. I don't know what's happening. Some kind of toxic waste plant. And like in the 80s and 90s, people just thought they were like factories that just made toxic waste. Yeah, Jugsy says in the chat, casual and part-time work in the US sounds hellish, as well as the whole hospitality staff relying on tips thing. There is an increasing move against that in the US that tip workers should also get paid a living wage, and then maybe that would put less pressure on people to tip them. There's a really great National Public Radio in the US podcast called Throughline, and they did an episode, I'm sure you can find it on the internet recently, about the history of tipping in the US, which is super interesting. Like almost everything in our country, it has its roots, of course, in racism. You know, I mean, to be honest, the two things I was talking about I love most about America, barbecue and bourbon, also have their roots in racism and the slave trade, unfortunately. But that was such a big part of our history, it's kind of hard to escape it. But, you know, that makes it even more important for us to talk about it and address those things in a straightforward and honest way, which we also don't generally do. Okay, let's try this out. Let's see how this goes. As always, I am playing this from an original cartridge. This is a Lucy that I have. I don't have a box for the manuals or anything for the ooze. I'm playing it on the on Analog's Mega SG, which is their Sega Genesis hardware emulator, but I am playing with the original game cartridge, and then 8-Bit Do's M30 6-button Sega Genesis controller, which is so nice. One of the best, I think, third-party retro controllers out there if you need a 6-button. Oh, but you know what? It's also got shoulders. It's got shoulder buttons. Okay, I have no idea how to play this. Never done it before, but this is 1995, as we can see the ooze. Music is pretty ominous, but how do I start? Got it. The dump. Toxic dump, part 1. Wow, there's parts? So cinematic. Kind of looks like DNA a little bit of a double helix kind of thing. But what do I just skip through that? All right, so this is me, I'm oozing. What is this? What does this do? So I have like a spit. And I can kind of shoot and get these things. Does it, like, any of that make me like bigger or something? This is what I was talking about, is this is kind of like unique. I've never really seen a game like this before, but it seems kind of cool. I don't think I can do anything about that. What does this do? Does this do something? Does this do something? It does. Oh, I didn't like that. That hurt me, I think. Oh, I died. Okay, well, don't do that. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. 2 lives left. Man, that is a difficult to read font. The ooze. And toxic dump, I see part 1, yes. We didn't get very far. You know, it's tricky with these old games. I mean, I'm sure somewhere on the internet it tells you how to play it, but what's the fun in that? I was hoping that killing these little sluggy guys would, like, I don't know, make me bigger or something. Like, give me more, like the blob. Ooh, that's a good thing worth talking about. Uh, to anybody watching, Jugsy, if you're interested in participating in this conversation. Have you seen I don't know what year it came out, the 1980s version of The Blob? Man, that movie is messed up. And very, ooh, I'm yellow. Why am I yellow? Is it good to be, oh, I'm moving faster. I guess it's good to be, I feel like when you turn yellow, you become less viscous. If you can imagine what that's like. But do any of these things give me anything? It's, because this isn't really working in a straightforward left or right, it's a little tricky. But look how you like flow over stuff. That's such a cool effect. This is definitely a cool game. What's this? Is it special? But what was I talking about? The 1980s, whatever, probably like 88, 89, probably. I'm just making a guess. Remake of The Blob is a real good horror movie. This, I'm sure, is kind of meant to give us a vibe of that a little bit. But if you're looking for a really gory, lots of really gross practical effects kind of situation, check out the Blob. But the remake, the original one also is, don't get me wrong, is a great 1950s kind of goofy horror movie. And it's really about, like, no one understands teenagers in the way that every movie back then seemed to be. But the remake from the 80s is gnarly. Jugsy says, I love these blobby games. I used to play a really basic pixel version in school. I remember, oh, interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen like a retro, like an old game like this. Um, I wonder like if this was like a big. Do I have to start all the way back at the beginning? I feel like I'm probably going to have to. What happened? Uh-oh. Looks like this froze up a little bit. Let's do a little restart. That's sometimes what happens when you play old deals. Hmm. I don't think that was the game. I think that was my computer. Hang on just a second, everybody. Let's do this. Can I? Yeah, that's not the game. Something has happened to my computer. Can I fix it? Uh, can I? Is it fixable? Let's see. Problem, with being an IT professional is you gotta fix all your own stuff. I can't ask anybody for help. That would be silly. It seems like my capture card has ceased to function. Can't get it to open. We'll give that a minute. Why don't we give it a minute and we'll do a question from the internet. Let's do that. Okay, here's one. This one's a little rough, just to let everyone know. This one's a little emotional. But we're all emotional. We're emotional beings. Okay, here we go. My niece and nephew, 11-year-old boy-girl twins, seem to be overly dependent on each other. They've been through some traumatic experiences together. They lost their father in a sudden car crash while my niece had extended hospital stays in 2022 and 2023 due to a medical condition that nearly killed her. These experiences seem to have created an intense bond between them to the point where they can barely be apart from each other and tend to shut down without the other's presence. My niece in particular struggles more with making friends than my nephew does. In school, they have different classes, but are otherwise never far apart from each other. My nephew has an easier time of it than my niece does, but neither is in a great spot. Yada yada. They do extracurricular activities with each other. This dependency is extended far beyond school, though. Even the things like when my sister took my niece to the eye doctor, the same one she's seen since she was 5, she was sitting in the lobby working on her laptop. My niece had a panic attack during the checkup because her mother and brother weren't there. Their mother, a single mom, refuses to acknowledge that there might be a problem. I understand that their bond might be a coping mechanism, but the trauma they've experienced, I'm worried for them. Um, I always think it's interesting that these parenting advice column questions are always start off with not my kid, but somebody else's kid. And that I think is a good sign that maybe you need to give the letter writer needs to give her sister a little bit of space with her kids. The thing that really stands out for me here is there's this kind of expectation people have um, that it's you can't be messed up like after a traumatic experience, that you need to, like, I don't know, recover and get better. And traumatic experience, especially something like the loss of a parent when you're a young kid, you don't getting over things isn't realistic. You learn how to deal with it. You learn how to minimize negative impacts on your life and on the people around you. But you don't pass over things. You don't learn you learn to deal, but you don't get over. You don't move past it. You hear people say that all the time. She just can't move past it. Uh, Most of the time, you can't. You can't move past things like that. This idea that there's this expectation that you're supposed to not be messed up is not realistic. Everybody, or at least an awful lot of people, just get messed up. These kids have been through a horrifically traumatic experience at a very young age. They're 11. Let them be messed up for a little bit. Let them deal with this. If they, if they're 18 and they can't be in two separate rooms, then maybe that's something else to revisit. But 2022, 2023 was very recent. It was last year. And I think sometimes you just got to let people be traumatized. You have to let people be messed up. Trauma, being traumatized means that you've been through a trauma, and you need to let people feel their feelings about that. Now, of course, if someone's going to hurt themselves, if they're going to hurt somebody else, if they're doing something really terrible and destructive like drugs, or like really like life risking activity, that's a different story altogether. That's the time when you need to step in and help them intervene in some way. But if they're if they're having panic attacks when they can't see their mom, knowing that their father suddenly and unexpectedly died out of nowhere, that kind of makes sense that they would. I think most people, especially a young kid, would react that way. We've said this on the show before, and I'll say it again. If you're swimming in the ocean and you're scared of getting bitten by a shark, that is reasonable. Sharks are in the ocean. That is the place where those things happen. I'm not saying don't go into the ocean, but that is a reasonable concern to have if you're in an ocean where there are sharks in that area and you're scared of getting bitten by a shark. That is a normal feeling to have in that situation. If you're sitting on your sofa and you're watching Shark Week on the Discovery Channel and you're scared of getting bitten by a shark, something has gone wrong and you need help. Let people feel the way that they feel from their trauma, as long as it's not dangerous in a real life threatening way to them. These kids have a right to be messed up for a while, probably, and I think that they have a right to feel that way. Leave them alone. Let them be a little unhealthy for a little bit, because something really unhealthy has happened to them. Is my take. And people like this whole whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger nonsense is damaging to people. People need to stop thinking about it that way. The thing that doesn't kill you, yeah, sometimes I guess it makes some people stronger in some circumstances, but most of the time the thing that doesn't kill you messes you up for the rest of your life. And that's just how life is. It sucks, but that's true. Let people be messed up is my take on that. Anyways, I know that one's a bummer. Poor kids. That happens to kids sometimes, and they have a right to be a little messed up from it for a little bit. It's only been a year, so let them be messed up. Can I get my my capture card to work again? Because right now it is not. Jugsy says, "I feel you, REIT guy problems. Haha. The worst part is is I'm lazy and cause the problems myself most of the time." Yeah, and like I so often, Jugsy, I so often like, oh, there's a problem. I'll fix it later, and then you just get used to like, I don't know, not having your internet work or having to use your cellular service or having like a TV that's like missing a bunch of pixels or whatever. And then eventually you just get used to it. And then before you know it, it's been like a year and there's this broken thing that you keep meaning to fix. I guess people, people are like that about all kinds of stuff. Um, I hope this isn't my Mega SG causing the problem here because they don't make these anymore. And if there's a problem with this one, then I just don't have a good way to play Sega Genesis games at the moment. But I think it's the capture card just because my software isn't loading. It's not loading. We'll give it another minute. I have a game that's on my computer that I could play. But I'm starting to think that this might be a problem. I mean, I hope it's also not the capture card because those aren't cheap. And I ain't got no money these days. Nothing. Is it gonna work? No. Okay. Show must go on. Let's play something else. I'll figure that out later. So we're gonna totally switch gears. There's a game that I've been really into that I've been generally playing on my phone. Excuse me. I've generally been playing on my phone. And my iPad's called Outlanders 2. It's an Apple arcade game. If you don't have Apple devices, and then also if you don't subscribe to Apple Arcade, it's not a game you can play at the moment. But a lot of Apple Arcade games end up getting general releases on consoles or Steam or whatever. So if you aren't a Apple product user, then I don't know what to tell you, bro. But this is just like a really chill kind of city buildery game. I'm actually gonna go back. I've been playing this one for a long time. It's not 520 minutes, is it? It's about to collapse because somehow I'm not making enough food for people suddenly, although I had been for a long time. Must have like a little population boom. But I'll show you around so you can see how it works. We'll play this for a few minutes. Maybe we'll do one or two questions and then we'll probably wrap it up. Seems like it's a slow night here. Not that Jugsy isn't equal to 10 people in the chat, but you know, Jugs, you know how it'd be. Oh my gosh, maybe something really seriously wrong with my computer. I'm pinwheeling here. I'm not getting anything. Let's see if this will load. Let's give it a minute. Let's do another question. Oh, no, it worked. Great. Okay, here we are. So, I'm going to pause. So, this is the game. And you see I have this little village I've been working on. One of the problems, so this is a sandbox, so you can set parameters, and I made the mistake of doing maximum trees. It's become a problem in that in order to clear land for making food, I got to cut down a lot of trees. And then you can see here that I've got all of this lumber. that I don't have a lot. I can't use the wood fast enough with the amount of land I need to clear. So I just have to kind of stockpile a lot of it. Another problem this game has is a little glitchy. That if one of your production buildings fills up, then the worker there stops producing, but then doesn't start again when the building becomes devoid of resources. I suspect that's where my food problem has come. I have 120 hungry people. They're probably going to start dying soon, and that'll just be the end of the game, which is fine because they're not real people. But I suspect that's probably what's going on here, is some combination of very valuable food production places have just glitched and have stopped working. Let's let it run and we'll look around and see. One of the things I love about this game, though, is it just looks really good to me. The level of detail in the character animation is really amazing. Like if we go and we watch this little open air kitchen place, like when the fire goes out, you'll see a worker come up and you can see them like striking something to start the fire again. And it's just those little details. It's so nuanced. There's a bakery over here, and if you can watch the worker come in, if it's going to work, if it's not glitched out, and you can watch them knead the dough before they put it in the oven to bake it. It's such a nice little bit of detail. I really like it a lot. It's brand new. It's only been out for a week. And, you know, it's free because it's Apple Arcade. So I don't know if they have like a massive amount of motivation to patch these types of glitches, to be honest. I'm sure it'll get one sooner or later, but probably not as fast as I would like in order to want to keep playing it, to be honest. But I really should be producing more food than this, and I don't know where it's all going. I want to check all my bakeries to make sure that they're actually making bread. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. But things ain't looking good for my little village. I am concerned that people are going to start starving soon. That person is making bread, so that one's working. Is this one working? But isn't this just kind of cozy? Like, I wish it was easier. I want a game like this that you can't really fail, but has this level of detail. I just want to chill. I want to build. I want to automate everything. I want to be able to like lean back and watch all my little people doing their thing. And this game, even in sandbox mode with all of the resource settings turned all the way up, still a little more challenging, honestly, than I'd like it to be. I prefer a game like this to be like almost impossible to fail, is my preference. But we will see here shortly that I am probably going to fail big time because I'm not making enough food for people. I'm going to, this bakery I don't believe is working. So the fix for that glitch when they stop making bread is I just got to tear it down and build it again. But yeah, it's not, no one's in there. I got plenty of flour. I know that's not the problem. So let's tear it down. And we'll do it again. Hopefully it'll tear down fast and we can build it back fast and then start making some bread for people. Quick. Bakery. Lost a whole day there because that took too long. Rotate. There. But anyways, I've been playing this game a lot. This has been most of my video game time, is playing this. If you have Apple devices, if you use a few Apple services like increased iCloud storage and Apple TV Plus, if you're using at least two, of those, then you might want to look into getting an Apple One subscription. I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything, but Apple One is essentially all of this stuff. It's iCloud space, it's Apple TV, it's Apple Music, it's Apple Arcade, it's Apple News, and it's not too bad per month. You save a lot of money. If you use like 2 or 3 Apple services, you're saving money on that. It's cheaper. And that's what we do. And that's the main reason we have Apple Arcade. But also Apple Arcade has lots of really good little kids games. There's no in-app purchases. There's no ads. It's very, very kid-friendly. So I like it. But now I have no food. So people are still having babies though. And no one's died of starvation. People are just dying of old age, which is weird. Let me max out the number of people working on rebuilding this bakery. Because I think I've got enough flour. Yeah, like my windmill's full, so I got plenty of flour. So that's not why we're not getting bread. It's because the production buildings glitch out. Let's see, here's another one. Let's see if this one works. I don't see any bread coming out. Here, this is a good angle to look. And we'll see how that goes. No, this one's not making bread either. That's 100% the problem. I wonder, I have some chicken coops, and I bet you that they've all failed too. They've all glitched out as well. So let's tear down this bakery, and we'll build another one, and then that one will work. I know that sucks. It really does. And I hope that they fix it quickly, because this is actually a pretty nice game considering what it is. Let's go see if this guy started producing again. I'm really confused why people haven't started starving to death yet. Because it's been a little while now. Yeah, okay, that's working again. Bake that bread. Feed the people. But anyway, so this is the Outlanders 2. I played the first one also, which was also on Apple Arcade. And it was a little gnarlier than this. Like, it wasn't quite as satisfying to play. It was even this, like I was saying, with this, the sandbox mode still a little more challenging than I'd like it to be. But the first one was even more so. What am I gonna do about? I'm making plenty of food. Why are people starving? I don't really have any place to build more food items. Let's look at what kind of food we're making. So what I need to do is I need another farm. So this is what we're gonna do. Let's pause. So this is what we're gonna do. How do I rotate again? Rotate. I'm gonna build a partial farm here because I don't have enough land cleared, but it'll give me something until I can clear out more of the forest. So let's play that again. They're gonna break down these 2 lumber camps. But isn't this nice and relaxing? If it was just a little easier, this would be the perfect game. The number of people that don't have food is going down. I hope that's not because they're dying. Maybe we are, like, food's going up. Maybe rebuilding those 2 bakeries did something. So let me rebuild a lumberjack camp up here. So we're continuing to clear. this isn't enough space to build a farm yet. Well, let's just really focus on clearing this out as quickly as we can. I'm gonna build 2. And then we also want to clear this out because we got to get rid of those rocks. Yeah, the number of people, maybe we're overcoming the food problem because the number of people that need food is dwindling quickly. And I don't think it's because they're dying, because my population isn't going down. So they should start to clear this out pretty fast. And that'll give me some space to make another farm. Yeah, now we're down in the 40s. Yeah, we're getting there. 30s. Okay, hopefully we'll be able to start building up a bit more of a food surplus now. Hopefully. We'll slow this down for a little bit just so we can kind of enjoy the chillness of it all. Just a little bit of chillness. Can I build a little road here? Let's build a little road. I'm like the Bob Ross of resource management games, you know? There we go. But yeah, this is a very nice game. I just wish that it was a little easier so I could really, like, it's just so, it wants to be so chill, but then it just, the challenging parts are a little unnecessarily challenging, and certainly the bugs and glitches in it are unnecessary. Okay, let's speed it back up again. Oh, it's the number of days I played for 531 in-game days, which sometimes, if the speed is up really high, is just a few minutes. But this is a tomato farm. That's cabbage. I only have one wheat farm, but it is very very productive. The one wheat farm produces more wheat than my windmill can do, and then I also have a brewery as well, and it's still more wheat. Then you can see that the inventory is always overloading there, so it is a lot, which, you know, is nice. I haven't built a lot over here. It's hard to see, but there's a big, like a valley that's like a steep hill, and so there's not a lot of space to build. You build on a hill like that. Which is annoying. And we're almost at everyone's fully fed. We're getting there. I hope that we can start building up a surplus. But we got to be mindful, because if those bakeries fill up their inventory again, then they're going to stop. And that is such an unnecessary glitch. I think that these chicken coops do the same. This guy looks like he's working, but is it producing any eggs? Is it going to produce eggs? Or is he just doing something? Yeah, see, that's a big problem. This isn't working either. I don't even see any chickens. Let's tear it down. And we'll try to rebuild it and see if we have better luck. Where is another one? Here's another one. That one's working. I see a chicken. We have a surplus of food, finally. Good news for us. Where's there another chicken coop? Here. And this one's producing too. I can see the eggs. So it was just the other one that wasn't. But let's build it back just out of curiosity and see if it'll come back. Yeah, I hate having to like monitor a game to work properly. But you know, nothing's perfect. It's free. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I don't have any free workers. It's because I got so many people working over here. Let's scale this back a little bit. Why don't we free up 2 of these people? And I've got 2 unfilled job slots. So if I free up 2 more, we'll just give that a minute. People will grow up and start working again. Not a lot of surplus. It's dipping down to, is it going to get to 0? It's dipping down to pretty close to 0 overnight, which is too bad. But it's better than nothing. I got 3 unfilled jobs. But I do want to keep a number of people working here for, because it's important I get this cleared out as quickly as I can so I can make a new farm. But let's just watch them go. See, this is what I like about these games. I'm just gonna sit back and just watch everybody do their own little thing, all the little people. Look at them go, day and night. I do have a, every once in a while you can see someone sit down and read a book, because I have a book maker place here. He gets there's a paper mill that makes paper from the logs. And then I have leather imported from some other place. You can only import glass or leather and trade them for wheat. And I have 8 unfilled jobs now. We gotta get our birth rate back up, people. Boy, nobody wants to do it anymore. What's the problem here? 12. Okay, now I have to actually start. I'm gonna start having problems if I don't start shutting unnecessary things down. Let's see what we have that might be unnecessary. Like, I don't need anyone cutting planks right now. You can go away. I don't need anybody working these at the moment. Let's just have 1 person making books. And 2 people cutting rocks. We'll keep 2 and 2 and 2 there. I don't need anybody cutting firewood. I don't need anybody making bottles. I don't need anybody making roads. And this market always seems to be empty anyways, so let's just have 1 person on it. Okay, that's looking a little better. Okay, that gave us a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, we're gonna play this for a few more minutes, and then I'll read out 1 more question, and then we're gonna give it a rest. Yeah, food is building back. Thank goodness. I think we've escaped our starvation concern. But just to be safe, I am going to make another farm here. Well, that was fun. We'll wrap that up now. Let's do one question and then we'll probably just call it a night. It's almost 10 o'clock. Um, let's see. Okay, here's one. My son is 19 years old and in college. He refused to get a job his first 2 semesters because he was too busy with his girlfriend, with whom he ended up sharing his dorm. I was not aware of this girl's existence in that manner, and now, because I let my son know how disappointed I am of him, I only made matters worse. It only made matters worse. Of course it did. In their mind, it's him and her against the world, yet neither of them work full time. This is a gentleman who would always, I would always see with a book in his hand. How do I knock some sense into him? This is a weird question in a bunch of ways. First off, I don't know if I've heard in recent times a person referring to their child as a gentleman. That seems weird. There's a couple pieces of information that's missing from this. It says that the 19-year-old son, refused to get a job for 2 semesters. Yeah, Jugsy says, stop sending the money. I don't know how Americans work. And generally speaking, Jugsy, American culture is very excited about cutting your kids off and kicking them out of the house. To the extent where it's not like it's a very, very common story that young people in their late teens or early 20s have nothing because their family won't support or give them anything, even when they have resources to support them. So that I don't, just to be clear, I don't ascribe to that. My family doesn't ascribe to that. If your kid needs help, if you have the ability to help them, I mean, my thought always is you should always help your family members if you can, and they need it. But the thing I don't understand is it says he refused to get a job for his first 2 semesters because he was busy with his girlfriend, but then it says that they weren't aware of the girl's existence. So I think Jugsy's point is really important there is when you told your son he had to get a job and he said no, what did he say? Because the reason they're giving is because he was busy with his girlfriend, but then you say that you didn't know that he had one. So that just seems like that's suspicious to me. It feels like there's something going on. That, hey, Normie's here. Hey, Normie, you're catching me right at the end. I'm having some technical difficulties with my Sega Genesis. So we're going to discuss the question here, and then we might be wrapping it up. Short version of the letter is letter writers saying they have a 19-year-old son who's in college. They refused to get a job for 2 semesters because they were busy with their girlfriend. The letter writer didn't know they had a girlfriend, and has told the son that they're disappointed in him, which has just kind of made him and his girlfriend circle the wagons, as always happens in this situation. And they don't know what to do about it because neither of them are working full time. Jugsy says, it's weird here to be dependent by university age. I understand that, Jugsy. I don't know a whole lot about Australia, but you have to keep in mind in the United States that college or university are insanely expensive. To get an undergrad degree, people tend to go into debt for most of the rest of their working lives to pay for it. If they haven't been saving since the minute they were born, university is very, very difficult for anyone to afford to go to unless like you literally get started saving. Your parents start saving for you the day you're born. I have an unpayable amount of student loans. It's unlikely that I'll be able to pay it all off in my lifetime, and I don't think that's an uncommon scenario here in the U.S. It's ultimately because Jugsy said So wait, you're Jugsy in Australia. Higher education was free, and now it's not. That's terrible. That's almost even worse than it never having been free before. I mean, it used to be affordable a long, long time ago, but it hasn't been in a long time. Uh, they unfreed it. Wow, that stinks. And made it more expensive and have. Wow, that's too bad. I want to be clear here on the advice stream. We don't. I am a very political person. I talk and think and discuss and read about politics a lot. But this is kind of a space, at least for me, if not for anyone else, to kind of take a pause from politics. But giving people access to an education is isn't politics. It's not a political topic. That's just common sense. There it should be. Excuse me. I don't understand how anybody would see that having a highly educated public isn't an essential thing for a country to do. It used to be just something I can talk about a little bit more. It used to be that education was considered a national security issue, at least in the United States. Certainly not anymore. Hey, Fred Undead's here. Fred Undead, we're going to be wrapping it up soon. I think there might be a problem with my capture card. My Sega machine stopped working. We played Outlanders for a little bit, but I'm honestly kind of getting bored with that game. So we're discussing Fred Undead. You and I talked about this one. This is the one where the 19-year-old son's in college. The letter writer says their parent says they refused to get a job for 2 semesters because they were too busy with their girlfriend, and et cetera and so forth. I also think, this is also maybe a different parenting thing. There was no way I wasn't going to be working part time when I was in college. That was never an option that I would have considered for myself. I had a lot of help financially from my parents to um, my tuition's a little bit more complicated, but like for like the meal plan and stuff, I think my parents paid for that. But if I wanted to do anything or eat anything that wasn't on campus, I had to have my own money. So there was no way that was just never an option to not have a job. Um, I, I, you know, my parents, by the time I was 16, it was expected in my family that I at least be working a little bit. I have a little tiny bit of income for myself. I think that is a better. And Mir's here too. Now everyone's showing up after I was gonna start wrapping it up soon. The whole gang's here. Well, maybe we'll hang around for a little bit longer. There's a lot going on in the chats. Hold on a second. Trying to catch up. Let's see. Uh, yeah. Normie Has-Beens, Oldman, aka Oldman over there. Hopefully by the time you're back, I've been talking about this for a long time. My basement is almost done, and I'd love to have like a tour of my new technology set up down there. So maybe we'll have you over in person to do that soon. We'll see how it goes. Oh boy, I'm so tired, but now everyone's here. I want to hang out more. But I don't think I can get any of my video game stuff working right now for some reason. I hope my capture card's not busted. Anyways, the reason I picked this question to read is just because it's missing just the right types of information that I feel like there's the parent is really complaining about something else than what they are writing about, and there's something else that's going on here that's unclear because the details aren't right in this question. Well, now that everyone's here, I'll just read it again. It's short. The question goes, my son is 19 years old and in college. He refused to get a job for his first 2 semesters because he was too busy with his girlfriend, with whom he ended up sharing his dorm. I was not aware of this girl's existence in that manner, and now because I let my son know how disappointed I am of him, it only made matters worse. In their mind, it's him and her against the world, yet neither of them work full time. This is a gentleman I would always see with a book in his hand. How do I knock some sense into him? So like, what does the book in his hand have to do with anything? And who calls their adult son a gentleman? That's weird. I feel like in reading in between the lines, and I'm just gossiping and speculating here. Reading in between the lines that there's something about the son's girlfriend that the parent doesn't like she's, I don't know, of the wrong ethnic background or religion or something, and she's trying to find a reason to complain about it. Because when she says this is a gentleman that always had a book in his hand, are his grades not doing well? Because if that's what you're upset about, then why didn't you say that? Is it that he refuses to work because you have an expectation that he's going to work while he's in college? Then when he said no, but he didn't give you a reason because he didn't know about the existence of his girlfriend. So that doesn't make sense either. So who knows? Amir says, do a live together, guys, in person. Yeah, we will. We will for sure. Oh yeah, the plan is that I have a couple light gun games for the Wii that I've really been wanting to play for a while. So I think that Old Man will come over. If I, I don't want to say for sure yet because there's a lot more work I have to do in the basement to get everything up and running, and I don't always have a lot of free time to do it. But if not next week, the week after, sometime soon, we'll do that. Definitely dusting off some Wii games. Normie says, okay, the letter writer and the son are both kind of shitty. Him for using his girlfriend as an excuse not to get a job. Her for assuming the girlfriend is the real reason he didn't get a job. Yeah, I don't know. The more of these types of questions you read, the more you notice the details that are missing are usually the things you want to know. Like the most common one is, like an older person is writing and saying, my children won't talk to me anymore. They've cut me all out of their lives because of just this simple misunderstanding. What should I do? And like, what you're not saying what the simple misunderstanding is. That is telling. That's everything you need to know. That it wasn't simple and it wasn't a misunderstanding. If it was, you describe what it was. But anyways, what else is going on? Somebody share a story about their week. Amir, how's it been? How's it been for you? What's new? What's new in the world of Amir? And then it takes a couple minutes for, because there's a delay. I don't have anything else on hand. I should have brought up another game to play. While we're waiting here, I'm just going to real quick see if I can get my capture card to work again. Normie says, I was a soda jerk and then a bookseller while I was in college, but it was fun money, not absolutely necessary. Yeah, the same for me, Normie. I worked throughout high school and college just for like money to spend on video games and comic books. Same thing I'm trying to spend my money on now. Going out to eat with friends or, take girls on dates or whatever. That's why I had a job. Normie, you said a soda jerk. Is that still a thing that exists? Like, did you have to do like like an actual like soda machine in the old days? Did you put like cocaine in people's Coca-Cola? Isn't that what soda jerks did? Normie says, I should have quit though because I still have the I'm in college and I'm at Scoop Daddy's nightmares. I don't know what that means. No, it's only for unkind people who scoop ice cream. Oh, I see. So you were a jerk who made soda instead of a soda jerk. Got my groceries for a month today, and that's all. You buy groceries for a month? I do a week at a time. I've never done a month at a time before. That is a level of planning that I don't know if I'm capable of. A week is as far as I can go. When I say a week, I really mean like Sunday to Thursday. And then Friday, by the time Friday comes along, we run out of food and ideas for what we're going to do with our food. and then have to start getting delivery or go over somebody else's house to eat. Because yeah, I can do Sunday night through Thursday is my is the extent of my meal planning. I can confirm that my capture card is not working. So I cannot get my Sega running again. That's too bad. Why? I really hope that it's not. I mean, I hope it's not a hardware problem either way. But I really hope it's not my Mega SG because I can't get another one of those, at least not for a reasonable amount of money, because they don't make them. They don't make them no more. I'll have to test this out a little bit. It was working fine initially. We played a little bit at the beginning of the last hour. We played a little bit of a game called The Ooze, which was kind of cool. Jugsy saw a little bit of it. The Ooze on the Sega Genesis. Game I've had for a little while. I've been wanting to play. It seems like it's a lot of fun. I didn't get very far into it before we started to have all of our problems. But I know everyone's just showing up now. Why don't we do this? A couple people are here. I'm going to take a commercial break for just a couple minutes. I'm gonna grab another system in a game that I can plug in and see. Wait, no, I can do it different than that. I can stay right here. We're gonna test this out together. We're gonna do a little bit of troubleshooting. I just need to rewire a couple things. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Stay with me, excuse me. I'm still here. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm back. We're just going to switch over to my Switch and see how, yes, Jugsy, it's plugged in. Thanks for checking. And I also turned it off and turned it back on again. Although I didn't turn off my computer and turn it back on again. That's the next thing I'm going to do, but I'm going to need to do that. I'm going to need to do that later. So the good news, ... question mark, is I think it might be my capture card. Because it's still not working with my Switch connected. Getting a new capture card is going to stink, but it is doable at least. I'm sure this thing has no warranty or support on it. Yeah, Amir, we were playing The Ooze, which is a Sega Genesis game, 1995, I think. It's kind of like a top-down, I don't know how to describe it. You need to look it up. It's difficult to describe in words, but you're a blob of goo, and you kind of slide around on the floor. It has some really weird physics involved. And rats. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to figure this out on another day. But we definitely don't... what else can I try to do? All right, well, let's try this. I can continue to stream just like this without my computer. I'm just going to try to... oh, boy, I have a lot of applications open, too. I wonder if that's got something to do with it. We're going to try to restart my computer, but I can still stream because I'm streaming off my iPad. I'm still here, everybody. It feels weird to do this without being able to see a website or anything. But we're having some technical difficulties. I'm restarting my computer, and we'll see if we get in. If we get in anywhere. I do still have the chat, although it's on a much smaller screen here. Hey, DJ Laura Lopez. How's it going? How's it going, everybody? We got people coming in. We got people joining the show. We're restarting now. And we'll see if we have any better luck. Do we? Is it working? Is it working? Ooh. It's working. We did it. Cool. All right, let me, this must be so exciting for everybody at home. Let me get resituated here. I got my Switch to work, and we're gonna play something off my Switch because I don't feel like unplugging everything and trying to plug something back in. I have a Switch game on hand that might be fun, something I've been meaning to play for a while. But that was me. But give me just a minute to get everything back up and doing its thing.
Not amazing, but decent.
That wasn't me that time. And we're gonna try to do something else. DJ Laura Lopez says, I used to DJ on Twitch, but my setup was not aesthetic. Where does my... Oh, please let my controller have a battery charge on it. It's good to see so we were... DJ Laura Lopez, I typically play, you and I go back to the real world. It's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a long time. I typically play old games, like vintage games. And so we started off the stream playing the Ooze on the Sega Genesis. Is from 1995. And too much of a glare. And there we go. And then I had some technical problems, so I stopped. And then we played a little bit of a game on my Mac that no one's ever going to want to watch me play, just like a little city building game. But then we fixed it just now. So I got my Switch, and I've been meaning to try out this game called Trek to Yomi, maybe? And we're going to try that because my Switch is working, and restarting seemed to fix it. And so I'm just going to kind of load this in here, and we're going to see how it goes. Now that we've got some people here on the stream, I'll just remind everyone, if you would like to seek advice from me, your friend Jeremy International, you can head on over to JeremyInternational.com. There's a contact form you can use at the bottom of the screen if you'd like to submit a question that we can discuss as a group, as a family. Not a family, we're not a family. As a community. I mean, I guess we could be a family if you wanted to, if you want to get weird about it. So if you like to seek advice, then that would be the way to do it. We'll read your questions out loud anonymously, and we can discuss. If you don't have a question, if you don't need advice, good for you. There's no reason to send in a message then. We can just have fun hanging out either way. But I'm still doing a little bit of technical et ceteras here to get ready to stream. No, not you, but you. All right. Can we do it? Is it gonna work? Look at that. Cool. Yeah, Normie, this is not a Star Trek game. I've heard of this as being like a side-scrolling video game. If Kurosawa directed it, it's black and white. It looks beautiful, and I'm excited to see. Watch me have to get some ridiculous update. Of course you do, because no game launches in a playable state anymore. So you always have to get updates. Jugsy says, is Yomi a person or a place or a state of being? I don't know. Jugsy. I ain't played any of this game before. It's all new to me. Hopefully we'll find out. This is it's a modern game. It's not a Sega Genesis game from the 90s, so there'll probably be some information that they give you about how the game works, because they sure didn't do that. They sure didn't do that back in the 90s. We will find out together. Can I go ahead and start the game now, though? We had such a good time playing Space Ace last week, though. I can't stress enough how fun that game was. If you got a Switch and you're into some old arcadey action, check out Space Ace. Because it was fun. It's part of the Dragon's Lair collection, not Dragon Slayer. That's a movie, which is also underappreciated and a great 1980s fantasy movie. But Dragon's Lair, not Dragon Slayer. I think I made that pretty clear. But hopefully this will load up here in a moment, and we'll see how this game goes. I think this came out for everything, for PlayStation, for Xbox, on Steam. I think it's around. If you want to try it out. And maybe we'll have a good time playing it if it ever finishes loading. I hope everything's going good with you, Laura. It's been a while. I hope things are well. We're hunkered down out here in Maryland, being old people with a kid, which is pretty good. Nicer than I would have thought. Ooh. Can that audio come through? Do you guys hear that okay? Doesn't this look like it's like Seven Samurai or something? This is so cool. Adjust the brightness until the what symbol on the left? It's barely visible. That is barely visible. Yeah, we miss you too. It's so easy to say and so hard to do, but maybe we'll be able to make plans to see you guys soon. Jugsy says, I always turn the brightness up. I usually do too, a little bit, but with a game like this that's so like aesthetic, it's so pretty. I want to keep it as close to the developer's original intent, you know? Is there a setting for making it extra easy, maybe? Because that's how I like to roll. Difficulty is set to easy. And doesn't look like we can change it, which I'm fine with. Lowest gameplay challenge, a story-focused experience. Enemies are weaker and deal less damage. Collectible projectiles are common. Bushido, balanced experience in gameplay and story. Enemies are tougher and deal greater damage. Collectible projectiles are less common. And then it just gets harder from there. I haven't played this at all, and I kind of want to have the experience with everybody watching at home, so let's do it on Kabuki. A little interesting story. The volume is a little loud, and unfortunately, it's coming from the same channel as my audio is for some reason. I don't know why that would be. When I restarted, everything got messed up. Let me know if you can hear everything okay, or if there's any problems with how everyone's hearing at home. I can make adjustments. But these are certainly some long loading screens. What was I gonna say? So I going back to college days. I studied kabuki a little bit in college, actually, with a kabuki performer that was visiting from Japan. Okay, hold on. I don't read the subtitles. I don't think I need to do that. You can read at home. So, except that my picture's in the way of part of it, but we're just going to have to deal with that. Oh man, this looks so cool. Amir says, unless some shorty ninja appear later. We'll see. So I'm assuming this is going to be like a tutorial. Wow, look at this. Oh. I was looking away when that happened too. Hi, sensei. Okay. Like it really looks like an old film. It looks grainy like old film does. Basic movement is left. Ooh. Hi. Wow, that's fast. Okay. Oh boy, it's combos. I don't like games with combos. YY. Left up YY. I see. Left down YY. X is heavy attack. So that's slow. A is rotation. What does that mean? Oh. Turn around. Amir says go for the face. Well, I'm practicing. I'm just a little boy. I'm just a little boy. Jugsy says sweep the leg. Jugsy, that's too soon. So left is this one. Hold it. I'm tired now. When your stamina reaches dangerously low, you will become tired until your stamina has recovered. While tired, you can only parry or perform a single slow attack. Although executing a tired attack pauses your regeneration, if it kills an enemy, you will be rejuvenated. All right. So counterattack, tap L. Counter. Okay, that's tricky. Oh, nope. I'll get it one of these days. What am I doing wrong? I'm not getting it. Okay, that was it. God, you can't. Okay, whatever. Oh, I haven't done it once at all. I have to do it 5 times. Okay, I got it. Uh-oh. I appreciate these tutorials, I really do, but I also just want to play the game, you know? I just want to play the game.
我々はどういたせばよいでしょうか。父上がこれほど案ずるとは気がかりでなりません。何があったのか明らかにせねば。されど先生はこれはお稽古よりも大事でございます。参りましょう。
Man, looks so impressive. What a cool concept. I'm controlling this, by the way.
こちらへ。先生はいかなる時も稽古を立つことはありませんでした。何か気を悪くされたのでしょうか。何をおっしゃいます、ひろき殿。あなた様は父の自慢の弟子でございます。
Look at that, like, heroic pose. That's like such a cinema pose. And look at the, like, the focus coming in. Wow. Wow. Can I talk to people? So I can't, like, there's nothing I can do except run and move around right now. I can't draw my sword. I can't jump or roll or whatever it is that you can do. The way that stuff comes into the foreground is so cool. Not at the moment, no, Amir. I can't pull my sword out or anything. While we're doing this, though, we're just kind of doing video game busy work. Wait, I can do something with this cart. If anyone's seen a lot of Kurosawa movies, I don't think I've seen everything, but I've seen a bunch. Shout out in the chat which is your favorite. Mine, besides Seven Samurai, is probably The Hidden Fortress. So cool. That movie's just really, really good. I know that people really like Rashomon a lot. That movie's also wonderful. But Hidden Fortress, I think, is my fave. But if you have a fave, let me know. What? There's a little... Yeah, Fred Undead says, agrees with me, Hidden Fortress. Some objects in the world need to be moved aside for you to progress. Yeah, that's how the real world works too. I see. Okay, so then I can go up these stairs now. Hi. There's a journal. I'm not gonna really look at that right now. Oh, wow. I just love that stance. And then we go down the stairs. This game's ooh, look. The dust going through the floorboards. Very nice touch. Okay. You're not my dad. Not through this way, this way. Yeah, doesn't it, Laura? It looks so good. And like, I don't know if you can see, but this guy with the big hat I'm supposed to talk to, the little symbol above him looks like an imperfection in film. It looks like the film is scratched or something. Which is, I don't know, so cool. Can we talk? I'm pushing all the buttons. I don't think there's anywhere else for me to go. There we go. Yeah, I'm really excited about, the game starting so we can play it for a little bit before it gets too late. New collectible. Oh, a seashell. But where do I... Are these stairs? This is one of the things I really don't care for, though, in a game. It is not clear where I'm supposed to go. It doesn't tell me. Like, to me, this game's already losing me right away. You should never get to a point where it's not clear where you're supposed to go next, unless that's the game, and it doesn't feel like that's on purpose. At all. Yeah, do I go back? Am I backtracking? Now can I go this way? Yeah. Visit shrines to save your progress. Yeah, Jegsy, I also, like, if this was like Metroid, then yeah, you backtrack. This doesn't feel like it's Metroid, so I wasn't planning on backtracking, but clearly. Obviously, if I was playing this game on my own, I would be taking my time and reading all of this content, but I feel like I'd rather have like a game to play here for you guys soon. What a good kid. This looks so good. Sprint to move faster, but sprinting during combat will use up your stamina. Hold B. Ooh, that's real fast. It's like a little greenhouse. These people not hear the guy screaming? The music. That guy's literally telling us where to go. Repel the attack. Hey, maybe you should stay back, girlfriend. Amir says, the other day a friend asked if he should get a Switch, and I said, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it has too many games. I'm beginning to think I was wrong. Yeah, Amir, the Switch has a lot of games, especially if you want to play any old, you know, I have a technical setup where I can play most anything I want to, but the Switch is a great way to get into old gaming. The Switch Online service, which is like $25 a year or something, has all of the greatest games from Nintendo throughout history. It's got Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Link to the Past. You can't beat the Switch. Big Switch fan. If I could only have one console, it'd probably be that. This is not a Switch exclusive, to be clear, though. You could play this on PlayStation, for example, 4 or 5, but you can't play that to go, you know. Can I get my sword out now? No. That's the answer to that question. Okay, here we go. I already forgot the tutorial. I did that bad. That was not good. I'm lucky I survived. Jugsy says, same, don't use it as much as I'd like to, but it's so convenient. Yeah, and you know, I mean, you always know that Nintendo's first party games are gonna be hits. Nintendo is very, very careful with their own IPs. And so if they make a Mario game or a Zelda game or a Metroid game, it's gonna be thoughtful. It's gonna be made to be a good game. Oh, that was easy. Okay, to fully restore my health, I need to do that. We did it. Like, hold on a sec. Let's just look at this for a minute. The leaves, like, in the foreground, like, I don't think I've ever seen just, like, a level in a video game like that before. That's, impressive. I'm impressed. I don't know how I feel about this as a game yet. Double-sided block and parry. Okay, I did a parry successfully. I'm not sprinting because I don't want to, Oh wait, I have to turn around. How do you, there. I stabbed that guy in the dick. Sorry, dude. Turn around. There's some kind of item here. The voice acting. Fred Undead says that the Nier games have a few parts like this. That's good to know. Those are, I'm not going to say high on my list, but on my list of games to get around to at some point. Oh, that sucked. This might be a little too... Can I help this guy? No. I'm just doing the same old stabby stab. Oh, I see. That's cool. It's just, on my brain. Uh-oh. He's got a bow and arrow. I'm just doing the same move. This is why, like, it's a little easy is a little too easy because I'm just doing the exact same move every time. Yeah, friend, this is a little bleak. This part is a little intense. I'm assuming the rest of the game is the same. ZR, which is here, is a ranged attack, can be thrown at enemies. Okay, I can't talk to him. Look at the scratching on the film. Did you see that? Yeah. All right, I'm getting a little bit of the hang of it. We're only gonna play this for a few more minutes, though, everybody, because it is starting to get a little late. Okay, we're gonna leave it here. That was fun. Should we do one more? I think I got one more question to do before we wrap it up for the night. Let's do one more. Let's see what I got. Okay, here's one. I haven't read all the way through this one. I hope that it's okay. I just read a couple paragraphs or a couple sentences and was into it. So here we go. I have a lot of very close friends who are still single, and I love this for them. I'm constantly a person they can come to for venting and a listening ear about their dating struggles, etc. I myself have been in a long-term relationship for many years now, and I've always worked to make sure that hasn't affected how much time and bandwidth I have for the dear friends in my life. That's wonderful. Good for you. We hang out several times a week, and often we'll go out dancing or to the bars at least once a month. The struggle is on these nights out. A lot of my girlfriends do not hesitate to find a hookup on these nights out and head out with them early and kind of leave me hanging. And even on the nights where they don't find anyone, I can feel their attention going into this preening and scouting for an eligible bachelor. We used to do this a lot when we were younger and single, and it was great fun. We'd chat about the guys we found hot or schemed ways to talk to them. But I don't mind being a wing woman every once in a while. But sometimes I wish we could just enjoy each other's company without having to prioritize finding their next sex partner amongst the crowd. Why can't we just dance? Anyway, this is probably something I should have said to them a long time ago, but now I feel like it's a frustration that's been bubbling and I can't figure out how to bring it up. How do I talk to them about this without blowing it up into a huge deal? Should I go there, or am I being selfish, a selfish coupled person? So a little recap. Letter writer has been in a relationship for a long time. They have lots of single friends. She always keeps bandwidth to hang out with her friends, which is wonderful. Good for you. I wish I could do that. But when she goes out dancing with her friends, they tend to, at some point in the evening, start looking for someone to hook up and go home with. And then she's kind of left on her own, and she's frustrated by that. So what should she do? Amir says maybe they should go to a picnic instead with the Nintendo Switch. That is a really good thing to do, is maybe going to less sexually charged events with your friends so that there isn't an expectation to go home with someone. I've been in a relationship for a long time, but I was single for a long time before that. And the thrill of kind of going out dancing and then trying to figure out and connect with someone in that particular situation is a very specific thing onto its own. And I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to try to ask someone to not do that in this type of situation. You certainly could, and if they're really close friends and you're used to being really open and honest and talking about sex and relationships with each other, you could certainly give it a try. I don't know if I would advise you to say from now on when we go out dancing, I really want you to focus on hanging out with me with the time we have together. But maybe, just to be like, every once in a while, is it okay if we prioritize our friendship and our fun time dancing together and not have to stress about finding someone to go home with? I think would be, if maybe it's just an every once in a while kind of thing. I think that's not an unreasonable ask. I do think it's unreasonable to tell someone to not try to explore and seek, a sexual experience ever. I don't think that's reasonable to do. But I do think it's reasonable to say maybe every once in a while we don't prioritize that. I'll also say it's probably good for your friend's mental health to maybe every once in a while go out into the world and take a break from like the hookup game, because that can be exhausting. It can be hurtful to your mind and to your heart to do that over and over and over again all the time. Normie says, go home thinking my bed with my partner is going to be so much more satisfying than their drunken mishaps with someone new. Normie, that is grade A answer material right there. Exactly. Difficulty level, hard, accuracy level, 100%. I don't know. I think it depends on a lot of the nuances of a friendship. I think that it's reasonable to say on occasion, maybe you can take a break from that game so we can spend the night hanging out and having fun and not having to stress about trying to find someone to go home with. But I think the only way to ask really for that is if you say on occasion. The better answer is to follow what Amir said, I think, is to find other things to do with these people that'll be in a less sexual environment, like a picnic with your Switches. Go to the Nintendo store and buy Pokemon stuffies together. I don't know. Those are things that probably some people do and end up getting laid, but probably not most. But I think that there's the times when you want to really have a night out with the gang, maybe don't go dancing. And the night when you want to see your friends like risk it all and succeed and get to leave with a person that seems fun and is beautiful and nice to look at, and you know that they'll at least have an interesting time with them, and then give you all of the details afterwards. That also seems like a pretty rad type of friendship too. So yeah, I like that's a good one. I understand the concern, especially when you're left hanging on your own when your friends go home with somebody else. I think we've all been there. Probably all been the friend that left our friend hanging too, from time to time. And you know, as we get older and more mature, maybe there's an opportunity there, to ask them to at least on occasion to take a break, from the game, as it were. All right, everybody. Well, that was nice. That went a little bit longer than I thought it would. We had a little bit of a slow build with the audience at home today. As a reminder to everybody, feel free to head on over to JeremyInternational.com if you'd like to submit advice for the next show. I'm monitoring that regularly. We'll read your question out loud anonymously if you'd like. There's also a way that you can leave tips there if you want to. No pressure to, though. No one ever has, literally, in the history of the stream. So don't feel like you need to, but I feel like I should mention it, especially because, for complicated reasons, the amount of money I have to spend on new video games is about to be next to nothing for a while. So if you give me money, I can buy new video games. So you should give me some money. You don't need to give me money, but give me money. But anyways, it was great seeing everybody. Thanks, Jugsy, for hanging in from the very, very beginning. And you know, everyone else, Normie, as always, Amir, Fred Undead. Great seeing you, DJ Laura Lopez. We miss you guys. Hopefully we can hang out soon. You know, the combination of the pandemic, moving out of the city, and having a kid is really made our social lives a little challenging to maintain, as you can imagine. But we'll hang out soon, I'm sure. And have a good week, everyone. See you next time.